Man is nothing more than a living contradiction. With this haunting statement, Julius Bahnsen, a 19th-century German philosopher, laid the foundation for one of the darkest and most profound reflections in modern thought, one that continues to challenge our deepest beliefs about life, will, and meaning. Little known to the public, and often ignored even within academia, Bahnsen never achieved the fame of Schopenhauer or Nietzsche. Yet behind this obscurity lies a mind that dared to stare directly into the chaos of existence and to name what he found there. His life was one of isolation and struggle. He never obtained a university post, spending most of his years teaching in small towns, far from the great intellectual centers of Germany. His works, dense and complex, were often dismissed as unreadable, filled with long digressions and a style so intricate that few had the patience to follow him. But for those who did, his writings opened an abyss of truth. Bahnsen's philosophy has been called miserabilism, a radical form of pessimism even darker than Schopenhauer's. And yet behind that darkness burns something deeply human, an attempt to find light within the tragic structure of being itself. The birth of a tragic vision. Bahnsen was born in 1830 in Tundern, then a Danish territory with a mixed Danish-German population. He grew up in a modest but cultured family. His father, a teacher, nurtured in him a love for study and philosophical reflection. But tragedy struck early. The death of his mother left an unhealed wound in his soul. He later wrote that his childhood was deprived of the parent I, a phrase that captures the deep sense of absence that haunted him throughout life. At the age of 17, he experienced what he called the intuition of the nothingness of existence. This moment, a direct awareness of life's emptiness, became the core of his entire philosophy. During his studies, Bahnsen met Arthur Schopenhauer, whose thought left an indelible mark on him. Yet Bahnsen would go further and darker. While Schopenhauer saw the world driven by one universal will, Bahnsen saw something far more chaotic, a will divided against itself, tearing reality apart from within. The will in conflict. Bahnsen's central idea is simple, yet devastating. The will is not one, but many, and each fragment is at war with the others. He called this the atomized will. It is the source of all contradiction, all suffering, and all tragedy. Every human impulse, every desire, every moral or emotional drive is born from this divided will. We are, in essence, creatures torn apart by our own nature, doomed to fight ourselves and the world that reflects our inner conflict. For Bahnsen, this struggle defines existence itself. It is not a temporary condition to be overcome. It is the law of being. He expressed this through his concept of the tragic. On the ontological level, the tragic is the fundamental conflict woven into the fabric of reality. On the aesthetic level, it finds its purest expression in tragedy, in art and theater, where human beings are torn between irreconcilable duties and doomed to ruin no matter what they choose. The more a person clings to noble ideals, Bahnsen argued, the deeper his fall. For every ideal contradicts another. To live sincerely is to live in conflict. The Breviary of the Pessimist. These reflections culminated in his masterpiece, The Breviary of the Pessimist, published in 1879. Written in aphorisms, it is a bleak yet strangely beautiful collection of insights on life, loss, and illusion. He writes of failure, suffering, and the vanity of progress, but also of compassion and humor, the only forces capable of softening life's cruelty. When pain and horror reach their peak, he wrote, there is only one thing that remains indestructible: compassionate love. For Bahnsen, love is not sentimentality, but rebellion, the only answer to a world governed by contradiction. And humor, he believed, is not escape, but liberation, the courage to laugh in the face of the absurd. Awareness amid tragedy. Despite his reputation as a pessimist, Bahnsen was not a nihilist. He did not preach despair, but awareness. He believed that facing the tragic nature of existence could lead to a higher consciousness, a more honest and profound way of being. Man is a nothing aware of himself, he wrote, a line that anticipates Camus, Sartre, and the existentialists of the 20th century. This self-awareness, painful as it is, grants us freedom, the ability to confront the void with dignity. Society, conflict, and the human condition. Bahnsen saw the same contradiction that tears the individual apart reflected in society and politics. He condemned capitalism, nationalism, and war as expressions of the same divided will. Nations fight, he wrote, as individuals fight, chasing illusions of glory and power that lead only to suffering. His insight remains prophetic today. Our conflicts, personal, social, and global, are all symptoms of a deeper fracture within the human soul. The end of solitude. Julius Bahnsen died in 1881, at the age of 51, in near total obscurity. No record of his funeral remains. Even his burial site is unknown. He died as he lived, alone, misunderstood, but true to his vision. And yet his message survives. Do not deny the tragedy of existence. Face it and let it teach you how to live with truth, humility, and compassion. Perhaps the key to a more authentic life lies not in escaping suffering, but in embracing it as the very proof of our consciousness, the fire through which meaning is born.